Many things, but first, what have you seen this in a while?
Not for 20, not when it first came out, in, I don't know what year it was.
In 73 it came out.
There's a true story. I'd never seen, these were on kinescope, so we never saw these. We never saw ourselves. Some of the sketches were fair, some were okay. The last one, I remember this, and I remember saying it. I heard a woman in the middle of that, near the end, I heard a woman's voice screaming with laughter, the highest pitched laugh, just cackling. And I realized that woman was me. I was screaming with laughter. I dare say that is the single funniest sketch ever done in show.
It's undeniable.
Yes. You know, the thing is that John Cleese has never seen it. Somebody sent it over to the Pythons to look at. About 2 years ago, he said he had to get up from his chair, lay on the floor, and not look at the screen. He was afraid he was going to die. And it was Sid Caesar's genius. Now, the sketch was written, there's no doubt about the concept of the sketch, was written. But everything in it, all of it, by the way, that sketch was supposed to be about 5 or 6 minutes. It went on forever. It was a live show. They kept cutting, you know, when they finally got to put the show on, they realized they had to cut the things to make it work, because this show ran over, this particular thing ran over. It ran over because Sid committed to the fact that everybody loved each other so much. And when you saw Howie hanging on his leg, none of that was rehearsed. None of that was rehearsed. I didn't know I could pick up Howie like a loaf of bread. We never tried that. That was all because Sid decided to go with the thought of screaming love. It was Sid.
That's a beautiful thing. I mean, it looks choreographed.
It's not. It wasn't.
It does, though.
And you know something? When I went out to get him in the audience,
yeah,
that was, we rehearsed it. I went, and he reluctantly, I grabbed him and pulled him on stage. When it came to the thing, he decided not to come on stage. That was all ad lib. And when he got on stage, we thought we had him there, and he went down into the audience. And he was smacking people with things, and they had to carry him up on the stage. All ad lib.
It's so beautiful. It's like a musical number, you know, with not just the words, but with the dance of Howie, and you. I mean, look how Howie's head pops out, right, between your legs and over here, and then comes out again.
All ad lib. All ad lib.
It is astonishing.
That's why when I saw it for the first time, I heard that cackling laugh.
Yes,
I had never seen it.
Well, I saw it when I was 16. Somebody took me to a movie theater, a local movie theater that was playing this. I was too young to have seen it live. Right. And they said, oh, you think you're funny? Go watch this guy, right? And you guys. And I went, and I actually fell out of my chair laughing. It changed my life.
By the way, Sid Caesar, I got to talk a little about Sid Caesar, who just passed away. A true comic genius. The word is thrown about very, very often. But I'm going to give you 2 examples of what I'm talking about. Sid Caesar invented the sketch comedy. I mean, invented it in such a way, performed it in such a way that it never was the same after that. But I remember being on, I was this close to him, nose to nose sometimes, and I saw him do things I could not believe were possible. I'll tell you one. First of all, we all went to some acting school. Sid never went to any acting school. He was a saxophonist. But he had a thing called sense memory, which Stanislavski talks about, where you pick up something in pantomime and give it heft. You throw a football, it has to look a certain way. Sid didn't have any kind of training, and I'll show you something he did. It astounded me. We once were looking for a pantomime for him to do. He was very funny doing pantomimes. So we said, here, have trouble opening a jar of olives. So we gave him, he picked up a fake jar, nothing in his hand, and he started to wrestle with his jar of olives, trying to get the cap off and making all kind of faces. And we realized it was going nowhere, it wasn't funny. But he'd gotten the cap off, and we said, Sid, it's not working. We'll try something else. And we went on to, all of a sudden, all of us are laughing. And Sid is looking around. He said, what are you all laughing at? And we said, Sid, did you know what you just did? He said, what did I do? What did I do? He says, you know that jar? Yeah, what about it? Well, here's what had happened. When Sid opened up that jar of olives, and we said it didn't work, let's go on to something else, Sid started thinking about something else. But his sense memory told him he had a jar of olives in his hand and a cap. So without knowing it, he screwed the cap back on, and he's thinking, and he put it down on the table. I mean, that is the greatest sense memory I've ever seen. And he didn't know he had done it. By the way, when I talk about sense memory, every actor in the world, when they fake having a cigarette in their mouth, they do this, they put it. Sid is the only actor I know who left a hole in the cigarette. And space in his hand to put, that's the kind of, now the other thing he did, he had Stanislavski, we talk about Stanislavski, we did a thing called tea and torpedoes once, where we, U-boats were out in the ocean, and we're going to load the torpedoes, and he's the captain of the ship, and I'm the second mate, and we're loading a torpedo, and we have this paper mache for a torpedo, and we hadn't rehearsed it, but we knew it was going to work. And we dropped the torpedo, and he dropped it on his foot. And Sid, without anybody blowing anything into his eyes, he started to cry. Tears, I'm this close to him, and tears started to well up, and a tear fell down his eye. I mean, he had that kind of ability, which is an extraordinary ability. He also, I just remember one thing. We did something where we're in the jungle. He's working for the English government. He's some kind of an official, and he's working with the natives there, trying to make some kind of a rapprochement between the tribes, and they have to drink a drink together. Now, Sid was very worried about getting germs. He was a guy who would never liked to drink from a proper glass. He knew the property master didn't wash them, so he always made believe he was drinking. Now here he had a drink, this big ram's horn, full of gukayucha juice. And by the way, Sid named it gukayucha juice. We said, what is that? Gukayucha juice. And they poured the gukayucha juice into a ram's horn. I guess I drank some of it, and somebody else drank. Now we gave it to him. I'm standing right next to him, and he looks at me. I know how much he hated to drink from stuff. And he's looking in there. This is a mad lib. He's looking there. He keeps looking in there. He has a gun in his holster. He pulls out a gun. I don't know what he's going to do. He shoots something in the cookie juice. And then he tries. I mean, that is a mess. It is a mess.